Young Sheldon is the wholesome Gen Z show we needed. This show encapsulates everything perfect about sitcoms and doesn't bring in any of the negative modern world attractions that many shows have problems with. I'm not even a big fan of The Big Bang Theory. I'm not a fan at all, actually. Millennial humor, unprompted, not even funny laugh tracks, humor that isn't even associated with a lot of things that are positive. Young Sheldon caught my eye when TikTok clipping accounts put 60 seconds, 120 seconds clips all over my timeline, and I realized something. There's so many things that work with this show that even though it's about one of the most boring concepts you could think of, it still is such a feel-good show that it makes it one of the best of all time. And the memes are great, the brain rot community is great, but the real show is actually not that bad. The first thing is one of the biggest problems with Big Bang Theory. It's the idiotic laugh track that they put in not only Big Bang Theory, but a lot of shows. Young Sheldon doesn't have a laugh track. And when the spin-off of the spin-off, George and Mandy's First Marriage, first started, it had a laugh track, and people could recognize how much they hated it. They instantly went for the removal of it. And this is a great thing. You don't need to be told when to laugh if something's funny. You just laugh. The laugh track in itself is like a subliminal target towards you to force you to laugh at unfunny things. This problem can be seen all the way down into the root of all modern television at this moment, which is that people are being paid to put out complete slop, and the laugh track's a part of why that's okay. But with this show specifically, without it, you don't have to laugh. That's like the whole point of the show. You're just enjoying their misadventures, adventures in itself. And it shows you another thing, the whole plot of the show. Obviously, Sheldon is supposed to be the main plot, but he's honestly no one's favorite character. He is probably the most annoying part of the show, but he's still a good part of the show overall. Every problem that they go through, besides Sheldon, of course, is something that could happen in real life to anyone. And its relatableness is something that almost everyone can connect to, obviously. It's funny, and it's not extremely negative. What are the other top shows of YouTube Shorts, let's say? Because this show is also on YouTube, of course. It's going to be The Sopranos, Mad Men, and Breaking Bad. All of which are heavily tied with violence, heavily tied with taboos of society, heavily tied with things that most people don't experience but know exist and aren't things that people want to experience anyways. And this is the first show that not only adults can love, but people can not feel bad about putting themselves in their shoes because they know it's a part of life. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers because a lot of you guys probably haven't even seen it, but go ahead and watch clips of it on TikTok and you'll see what I'm talking about. This show's success in itself proves a lot of what I'm saying. And I think it's a good way for television to go. If we have shows that show true characteristics of a person, a good person, it only benefits us to watch stuff like that if we have to watch anything at all. Good TV is a really hard thing to come by. Most people would even say that it doesn't even exist or hasn't ever existed. But if you ask your boomer parents or grandparents, they'll know shows where they teach good lessons. Now, are those lessons good? We can debate that. Young Sheldon doesn't even really try to teach lessons. It's just, side effects of what's happening. And the reality of life is that most people live by their negative experiences. And this show also shows that how negative experiences really shape people, change what they can and can't do, right? And it's a good feeling you get watching it. It's really weird, honestly, like just a nuclear family dynamic isn't seen in television, and yet here it is, and it's working. Why did this go away? Why did this type of environment shown on television go away? And honestly, we all know that it's probably forced, it's probably done on purpose to destroy the nuclear family and stuff like that. And here we are with an example of what was so great about that in the first place. What was the benefits of a nuclear family and things like that. Young Sheldon is the most wholesome show of our time at this moment that is actually enjoyable. And this goes for both genders. We can see the flaws and the benefits of every character. We can show how they all really do care about each other at the end of the day. And it's nothing that is being rubbed in your face. It's nothing that is something that you're gonna roll your eyes at. The biggest thing that you do roll your eyes at, which I'll spoil because if you know who Sheldon is, it's obvious, is Sheldon's atheism, right? That is like the biggest rub in your face problem of the show. But in doing so, and it seems pretty intentional that like the atheism comes off as snobby, doesn't seem like correct, right? Because while all of the rest of the community is some variant of Christian, Sheldon, of course, has to believe in science and push that. And sure, it doesn't do a good job of debating Sheldon's atheism, but it shows the positive impact that the Christianity community has on itself, right? And I'm not going to give any spoilers, like I said, but from season 1, episode 1 to the end of that show, all of it works out in a way where it's like, wow, this is something that like can be reflected everywhere, good or bad. If you're missing it, it's a good example of what you should have, at least somewhat. And if you have it, it's a good example of introspection on what you do have in terms of, you know, like my family cares about me, my family loves me, like, or, you know, the neighborhood and the dynamics between people, like these things are real and they're normal and it's not the end of the world. I want to take a moment to reflect on what entertainment should look like for you. Everyone knows that people fall into niches of entertainment. I'm going to list some obvious ones. Brain rot, Andrew Tate type stuff, grind set, girl TV shows, K-pop fan bases. You know, these niche communities have their own set of entertainment in itself. And nobody takes the time to really reflect on what they're watching and how it's affecting them. It really shows not only the life you live, but what you're reflecting outward to everyone else. This is important because what you consume makes you, and what you are goes out into the world. So if you're watching shows like, let's say, mob shows all the time, whether or not you're doing it on purpose, you're going to start reflecting those values. And that isn't to say you shouldn't watch violent things or taboo things or whatever else, but this is to those people who it consumes their whole life. Those communities also aren't bad in themselves, but you should be taking the time to expand what you are, okay? People shouldn't be centered around one thing at all times. You got to be a maverick, right? A jack of all trades. But when it comes to entertainment, people find themselves binge watching the exact same set of things. Let's go with the most normie stuff possible. Or you know what? Let's do millennials, okay? Big Bang Theory, Harry Potter, Disney stuff. Like, they get trapped in the cycle of millennial stuff constantly. And it's like a spiral for them. They become more and more millennial as the stereotype with what goes on. And they start living that character. Everyone knows a Disney adult. This is maybe the most specific example you can get. A Disney adult watches Disney all the time, and then they believe their world is Disney. And it comes off as extremely cringy to everyone else. Sure, they think they're living a completely positive lifestyle, but in reality, it's like almost a narcissistic self-pleasure where they think that the Disney world they live in is catered to them. This becomes a problem when they have to encounter real life situations of conflict. There is no resolution that Disney provides. Honestly, let's just be real. If you're a Disney adult and you're a woman, you expect a knight to save you, like at a certain point. You expect a magical wish or weird situations that have no self-responsibility. And these adults get so entwined with this community that they don't know anything outside of this. And this whole concept can go into bigger things. You know, the fact that Gen Z doesn't really have that many heroes or people to look up to in entertainment, ones that are genuinely good characters, like where all they are is good. And even then, when we do see characters, we don't know how to differentiate, you know, fiction from real life in terms of which traits to take, which is a problem with a lot of people, like I just said. But this goes deeper into that, oh, their bad traits are supposed to be things that we have, and oh, if I'm not doing extremely good across the board, then I'm doing bad. The reality is that these characters show such a minimal glimpse of what their life would be if they were real, that many of the problems that we have today, we can't reflect back onto them, right? That's why I say young Sheldon's realistic, because it shows real world problems. Let's take a character from The Sopranos, Tony Soprano, right? He's a cool guy. He's a mobster. He's got all the cool things that make him cool, right? What makes him cool? What makes him a good character? Now, people will look at that, and sure, they don't want to emulate Tony Soprano completely, but they want to take what's cool about him and then be that. Same thing with Don Draper, same thing with Walter White. And sure, they won't say this out loud, but they are subliminally acting on it. You know, there's like a tweet that goes around that's like, Tony Soprano didn't care about his hairline. Tony Soprano, Don Draper, all these characters, Walter White, weren't insecure about anything. But the truth is, if they were in real life, they would be insecure about a lot of things that we all are insecure about. And to people who watch these shows and have no outside connection with the real world, they have nothing to fix this problem that's in their head about. They have nothing to like calm their insecurities. And in real life, you have your friends and family to reflect onto you what to do about certain problems, because you see them experience the same problems. And by having enough social interaction, you don't have to be verbally told how to solve it. You just reflect what you see on others doing to solve those insecurities. Now, hopefully you're following my point here. But of course, let's take this not as extreme as what I'm saying, but the general idea of what I'm saying holds true. That people are losing their ability to overcome these adult real life problems because of what they lack from our entertainment. If we're going to have entertainment, we need it to be good. That's my whole point. Young Sheldon is, I'm not saying Young Sheldon's the 10 out of 10 IMDb masterpiece, but I am saying it's a step in the right direction from what we have. And what we have is not good at all. Minus 9 out of 10 IMDb, if I was in charge of IMDb. It's something that is detrimental and hurting us, because now we feel like these problems are things we have to indulge in. Oh, these cool characters, they have these insanely flawed lifestyles. Well, if I want to be cool, now I have to have that. And honestly, even with that, that comes naturally. You have the problems naturally. It's about overcoming them. Life is about overcoming them. And yet, we're living in the situation where we can't even do that, or we don't know how to do that.